Hello and welcome to another Top 5 Countdown video from Longhorn Tactical. Today we will be going over the top 5 headlamps of 2021. That being said,
hey y'all, take this time to like and subscribe to the Longhorn Tactical YouTube channel. Thanks.
The selection might seem rather peculiar because all 5 of these headlamps on the list are from Fenix. That is because we predominantly carry Fenix, Olight, and Nightcore products on Longhorn Tactical, with a sprinkle of Hotgazer, LaserTac, Army Tech. But that being said, Olight didn't release any really noteworthy or best-selling headlamps last year, and viewers have asked in the past why we do not include any Nightcore products on these lists. That is because we feature a separate corresponding Nightcore top 5 lists per category on our sister channel, Nightcore Store. Now, I cannot in good conscience suggest increasing one's exposure to this with my dry, monotonous delivery, but please feel free to check it out for additional flashlight content. That being said, coming in at number 5 is the Fenix HM50R V2.0. The HM50R V2.0 is the smallest headlamp on this list, the most lightweight and probably comfortable to wear. It is also the only one that can be removed from the headband holding portion. The pocket clip acts as a rudimentary retention device, which slides in and snaps onto the front attachment plate. So it's the only one that can be used as a right-angle handheld flashlight, which is very useful in its own regard, and the only one where you can tail stand and use in this way. It features a Cree it features a Cree XP-GE S4 LED, which is capable of a 700 lumen max. I can reach up to 125 yards of beam throw. It also features 2 red LEDs, which can be set to constant on or flashing, which is useful as a notification or signaling device when you're walking at night, as it preserves battery, it limits the battery use and provides a very long extended runtime. It is USB-C rechargeable, comes with a 16340 battery, the smallest out of the 5 headlamps, and the USB-C charging port is here on the bottom of the flashlight. Comes with just the adjustable horizontal Fenix headband, the new and improved one, which has a gray coloration in the center. The older ones tend to be a dark navy blue. Perforated so that it's very breathable, has the thick silicone strip on the inside so it helps grip the noggin. And yes, the lightest, useful, great for running, hiking, not necessarily heavy duty or industrial because it's not particularly bright, but for just walking at night, camping I suppose. An excellent headlamp in that regard. Coming in at number 4 is the Fenix HP30R V2.0. The Fenix HP30R V2.0 features a Cree XHP50 white LED, as well as 2 Cree XP-G3 S4 neutral LEDs for the flood portion, the central one being the spotlight. Now, the activation mechanism of the HP30R V2.0 is one of my favorites. It's so intuitive. You twist it. So, somebody pointed out in the HP30R V2 product video that I was saying forwards and backwards, which might be confusing, so they insisted on using clockwise and anti-clockwise. So if the button is facing you, or the turn knob is facing you clockwise, which would be if this was on your head, I feel like it would be tumbling forwards. So, twisting it in this exaggerated motion forwards is the spotlight, and then twisting it backwards or anti-clockwise with the knob facing you, or if it was on your head, doing a backflip with the knob is the floodlight. So yes, very intuitive activation in my mind. It's so simple. It's like forward for the pointy spotlight, then backwards for the wide floodlight. Just kind of symbolically, intuitively makes sense to me. So yes, you twist the knob forward to get the spotlight, and then twist it backwards to activate the floodlight. But then you can also push the button to activate both for the max of 3000 lumen with a beam range of 295 yards. Now, this is the biggest headlamp out of the 5 we have featured. It's very heavy duty and industrial. With the sheer amount of brightness and range you get, this and the 3-part headband, this is the one that's obviously great for industrial or heavy duty applications. Now, although this may seem big, this front portion is actually surprisingly light because it's all aluminum alloy, very lightweight. Now, the crowning jewel of the HP30R v2.0 though is the battery pack in the rear. Because you have these two objects, it actually does not feel that heavy and is quite balanced on the head, unlike headlamps where everything is just situated in the front and the battery slides underneath the LED modules. In the rear, you have this battery pack which can be removed. Then you pull out the connecting power cable. So, this steel pocket clip portion can also be removed. When slid on to the battery pack, this allows you to clip the battery pack, say if you didn't want to put it onto the rear portion of the headband, and clip it to a backpack strap or a belt so that the weight of the battery pack can be distributed somewhere else along the body. Although, that kind of defeats the purpose of this because then you just have this LED module portion up front with nothing really in the back. Although it is a 3-part headband, so the weight is still relatively well distributed. So this battery pack contains two 5000 mAh 21700 batteries, offering a total of 10,000 milliamps of power, which provides great run times for something that can go up to 3000 lumen. Additionally, it acts as a power bank and can discharge power. Up near the top, behind the rubber protection cover port, is a USB-C port, which is used to charge the batteries inside, and additionally a USB-A port, which only discharges power. So, you can plug a USB-A port in and hook it up to your phone to provide energy, to charge electronic devices. So yes, the multifunctionality of this battery pack is what really makes the HP30R v2.0 not just a great industrial headlamp, but just a little bit, that extra feature adds that bit of usefulness that other heavy-duty headlamps might not have. That brings us to the third item on the list, the Fenix HM70R. It's essentially the very popular Fenix HL60R, but upgraded with the additional high CRI LED as well as two red LEDs. So it comes with a luminous SST40 white primary spotlight. It has the high CRI Cree XP G2HE neutral LED and two Everlight 2835 red LEDs. The 2835 designation is 28mm by 35mm, the size of the LED diode. This one is a single 21700 battery, and the battery can be removed on this side. And it comes with, of course, Fenix's standard button top 5000 mAh 21700. It is USB-C rechargeable with the protected USB-C port under this cover. So yes, the Fenix HM70R takes over the place of that sort of standard headlamp. It has the much more traditional where the battery is kept behind the LED array. Very compact design if you think about how small that LED array is compared to the much larger ones. So it's much more shallow, so you don't get as much beam throw. So the max of the Fenix HM70R is 1600 lumen with a max beam throw of 203 yards. But it's a much more even floodlight coming from, not specifically a flood, but a nice, even, much more even spill. And then you double tap to activate your secondary auxiliary LEDs, such as your high CRI, two different brightness modes, as well as your red in constant or SOS. Cool, so this is sort of the utility headlamp that has a little bit of everything: functionality, rechargeability, the multiple different LEDs for all different types of lighting requirements that you might have, but isn't necessarily specialized for any particular thing. Like it could be used industrially, but it's not the super intense like the HM30R. No, HP30R v2.0. At the same time, it's not one of these simple, ultralight, really compact ones that you would normally associate with hiking or trail running. So yeah, this is sort of the good one to have for anyone in the toolbox. So whenever you're inspecting things under the sink, fixing things in the garage, this would be the headlamp to have in that regard. Coming in at number 2 is the Fenix HP25R v2.0. So from here you can kind of see the naming structure of Fenix's headlamps. HP basically means that the power source is separated from the LED module, whereas their HM series are their ones with the power source, the battery, and the LED modules all being in one enclosure. The HP25R v2.0 actually, at number 2, is very similar in specifications to the number 3 model, which was the HM70R, because both of them have their primary LED as the luminous SST40 white, their secondary high CRI LED is both the Cree XPG3S4 neutral, and this has two Everlight 2835 red LEDs, whereas this just has the one Everlight 2835 red LED. They both have the max output of 1600 lumen, whereas this, remember, look how shallow the LED module is, and by looking into the primary reflector you can see how shallow that is. Even though it's 1600 lumen, the max beam throw was 203 yards. Whereas here, same LED, but you can see it's a far larger and it's a mirror polished reflector for this SST40, which is why this has a beam throw, also at 1600 lumen, of 317 yards, 114 yards more. So yes, that right there is an example of the science behind collimation and reflector design and shape and how that impacts how the light is directed. So, of course, intuitively, you can assume that this has a much more bright hotspot and the central beam is far more focused, whereas the spill is not as bright. Now, whereas the HM70R only had one side button, the HP25R comes with a far more intuitive user interface. The button on the right, with the headlamp as if it was mounted to your forehead, controls the one right below it, the spotlight. So, holding that turns it on, then you tap it to cycle through your spotlight brightness modes, whereas the button on the left, with the headlamp as if it was mounted to you, controls the lights right below that, such as your red flashing, and your high CRI. Now the other key difference is that with the HM70R, you cannot activate both the primary spotlight as well as one of the auxiliary lights because it only had the one button. But this, you can turn on your primary and also turn on a secondary. So you could have it on any of the spotlight modes from Eco all the way to Turbo, have it on red flashing, low CRI, high CRI, turn up the brightness of the primary, and so you can actually have an auxiliary light with the primary light activated at the same time with the HP25R v2.0. And of course, because of the R designation, you know that it's rechargeable. And the battery pack of the HP25R is on the rear, which helps nicely distribute the weight. It is also a single 21700 size battery holder. Comes with the Fenix button top, 5000 mAh 21700. A lot of power for the LEDs up front and provides great run times. And thus, the HP25R v2.0 is a balance game, a trade-off of the HP30R v2.0. It still has that industrial design and feel and application, except it's far more lightweight. Yes, but at the same time, it's not as bright. It has half the battery capacity, but once again, that's a trade-off for the half the weight. Instead of two batteries, you have just the one. At the same time, instead of having two of the neutral LEDs for that wide high CRI flood, this time you're only getting one. However, you're getting the red LED for low light situations, or apparently it helps repel mosquitoes. I don't know if that's really the case. I think they're just attracted to carbon dioxide, which is olfactory, so I don't know what red light has to do with that. But it's a thing that I see on a lot of marketing materials. I don't truly understand the chemistry behind it. So yes, the HP25R v2.0, it comes with all of the different LEDs providing all sorts of lighting for multiple situations. Great to have, especially with the split type separate battery pack, providing a lot of juice for the lights up front. And of course the ability to use two LEDs. Your primary as well as one of the auxiliaries. That is the main benefit this one has over some of the other ones. Which finally brings us to number 1, the Fenix HM65R-T. Of course, the HM65R-T is just the HM65R with the fancy headband. It is thicker than the regular one because it was specifically designed for trail runners, so that, of course, by making it thicker, you're increasing the surface area. Thus, the area of compression is increased, minimizing the amount of force received on each point. I think I explained that correctly. So yes, it's like how if you swung it at the same speed, getting hit with like a rod as opposed to getting hit with like a surfboard, the rod will hurt more. It's concentrated. So yes, less concentrated force of compression on your head. That is what they were trying to accomplish with this headband, because it was designed specifically for trail runners. And additionally, the HM65R-T has their popular dual LED style, spotlight, floodlight, so same thing, 2-button style. Hold for the spotlight on the spotlight side, and hold for the floodlight on the floodlight side. the max of the HM65RT, powered by the luminous SST40 for the spot, and the Cree XPG2S3 neutral on the flood, is 1500 lumen, which is capable of reaching up to 185 yards of beam throw. This one also has the capability to activate both at the same time. The HM65RT is powered by a 18650 rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Specifically, Fenix's 3400 mAh button top 18650 variety. It kind of shows how this is sort of like the Goldilocks version. We've had our 21700s, we've had our 16340s, the small ones. They were all kind of specialized and had different features that made it good for certain situations and bad for others, whereas this one, all kind of right in the middle. It's very well balanced and thought out. And of course, the USB-C port to charge the battery inside is on the rear of the LED array. Additionally, another point which sets the HM65RT apart from the other 4 headlamps that we've shown thus far is the fact that the body of the HM65R-T is made from magnesium alloy, whereas the other 4 are made from aluminum alloy. Specifically T6 6061, which is what I believe Fenix uses. Now, according to Fenix's own marketing materials, the magnesium alloy is substantially lighter than traditional aluminum alloy, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because aluminum alloy was already a sort of marvel of engineering. It helped solve a lot of problems because aluminum is cheap and readily available, and once people figured out all these different ways of anodizing it, it became very hard and durable, and so I mean, we're making engine parts out of aluminum alloy these days, which is crazy if you think about it, because you'd think to maintain the forces of internal combustion, you'd think you would need something like really hardcore, but no, aluminum works. But magnesium is apparently just as strong and lighter. So yes, magnesium alloy. It is lighter than the aluminum alloy headlamps we have shown thus far, which was why it was probably another one of the reasons why it was the candidate for the trail running headlamp, to help reduce the weight that those people have to carry because they're climbing mountains and stuff. Last point of note on the HM65R-T is their ratcheting headband tightening pulley type mechanism, because I don't think Fenix ever worked out the trademark with the people that actually invented this, so they can't call it the original name. This is a device you'll find on high-end ski boots and other sort of heavy-duty outdoor-oriented equipment like backpacks for mountain climbing and hiking. So it's very simple. You turn the wheel clockwise, the knob, and basically like a pulley, it just pulls up these 2 strings. So, unlike those other headbands that have the under, over with the 3 bars and then the band goes over and over, so you have to pull it out first before tightening it on the other side. This one, once you have it on, you just twist the knob and tighten it until you're comfortable with the level of tightness. Something I wish you can do with other things. I'm definitely not going to include that in the video. Yes, the HM65R-T. It is the number 1 on our list of top 5 headlamps of 2021 as presented by Longhorn Tactical. That concludes the top 5 headlamps of 2021 as shown by LonghornTactical.com. All of the products featured in this video, except for me, will have their original product breakdown video linked in the description below. Go there to find detailed information on any of the headlamps you are interested in. Additionally, all of the headlamps mentioned above and so much more are available at LonghornTactical.com. If you have enjoyed this video or think I am a big dumb fart, please leave a comment or suggestion below. To stay up to date on future product releases from brands such as Olight, Fenix, Nikkor, and more, sales announcements, and all things flashlight related, please consider subscribing to the Longhorn Tactical YouTube channel. And thank you.